Hey guys, Sean Bougie, surplusfundsriches.net. Hope everybody, I'll see if we've got some people that are in here a little early. Hope everybody can hear and see me okay. If you want to let me know that in the comment section, I'd appreciate it. We're having a bit of a weather issue here today, so I'm hoping that's not going to in any way adversely affect the webinar. Just so you guys know too, and I'll probably bring this up later because I want to make sure everybody gets this announcement. We did another board update, a deals board update, and we put that up on the school account. If you guys are not familiar with that, skool.com. You can look me up under my name, Sean Bougie, B-U-I-G-E, or look it up probably under surplus funds. Christy says you sound great. Thanks, Anthony. Good evening. Happy to be here, brother. Happy to have you, Anthony. Awesome. All right, everybody, apparently we're 5 by 5, as they say. Any and all questions are, of course, welcome. Just so you guys know, I am working on a little more deep dive on videos. In particular, I'm going to go into airship really in depth with probably a series of videos. I've written the majority of it so far. It's difficult. It's not difficult to understand. It's not difficult to do. It's difficult to teach that. so it's taken me longer than I wanted to put it together so that I can do it. I was going to do it initially in one video, and it's way too much. So I'm going to break it out over probably 3 or 4. Hey, Cheryl, nice to see you. Peter K, hello. Ann, hey, Ann. And Philippe, hey. Good evening, Sean and everyone. I can see and hear you fine. That's great. And Eileen Moynihan says good evening. Hey, Eileen. Now, guys, again, if you missed it, and I said I'd bring this up again, and here I go. If you missed it, you're going to want to go to the school account. We have an account on school, skool.com, and you can look it up by my name or probably just surplus funds. Good membership there, but I did put the update, the deals board update on there this time. There's also, if you're with us on Facebook, if you follow us on Facebook, there's a link on there to the school account specifically talking about the deals board update. Yes, you have to sign in to get on there, but it's free. Most of the guys on school that have educational type programs charge a set amount per month. We just didn't want to do that. It's just another way for us to interact. Also, that's where you can find the calendar. So I know we used to put the webinar calendar on the website, but we've kind of gotten away from that a little bit. Well, it kind of got away from us, let me say. So by having an actual set calendar that I can just input in advance like that, just made it a little bit easier. Asif, hey man, you got some good news the other day. Good to see you too. Got, I think, 2 under contract, if I'm not mistaken. Philippe, I'm glad I joined the school. Thank you. Yeah, it is good information. I really like the layout there, Philippe. So in addition to the calendar, which is nice to have, and by the way, I can set the calendar so that it actually tells all our members, reminds all the members the day before via email, which is kind of nice. But it's a really good interaction experience there too. Jill says, hi. Kippet, hello, Sean. Great job on school. You're very welcome. And Richard says, hey, Sean, thanks for this. You're very welcome. And, again, keep your eye, if you guys haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube account. It's all one word, Surplus Funds Riches, just like the website, surplusfundsriches.net. Definitely subscribe to that because, like I said, I'm coming out with really in-depth videos that I think you guys are going to really enjoy. And Asif says, indeed, it feels very good for everyone. It really works. Just need to be persistent. That's right. Serious Beast says, good evening, all. Now, just so you guys know, too, I'm seeing a lot of names I'm not recognizing. So, and I've had a lot of calls in this past week, people interested, because we pulled the products off of our products page. You can't get anything on the main products page right now. If you are interested in coming on board, I am going to honor the last sales pricing. Just get up with me, surplusfundsriches.net, and do me a favor first. Go to surplusfundsriches.net, click on the link that says special offers, and that'll take you. You're going to have to sign in for that. You can unsubscribe whenever you want, whatever, But click on that, put in your information, it'll drop you on the products page. There's a download on there. It's got a black background on it. It's a download that you can pull on your computer. That's an overview of all of our programs. Take a look at that, decide what you're interested in, and then get up with us, and we'll take it from there. My email is right there on the site too, on the contact us, and you can shoot me an email, say what you're interested in. I can send you a payment link so we can take care of that right away, and you don't have to wait till the next sale. I'm not sure when the next sale is going to be. This is something I haven't talked to Jeff about, so something we're just going through. You may have noticed that with Michigan, we had taken it off for a while, then popped it back on. Now we've taken it off. We did get a few under contract on there before we pulled it off again. Let me give you guys the overview of what the heck is going on with Michigan. First, some really quick context. Michigan got in trouble a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago. They weren't giving the money back at all. They were saying they were using it for community redevelopment or just straight up for the budget, which is what they were really doing. And they got shot down. They got told they have to give the money back. Well, let me tell you what Michigan did. So Michigan came out and said, okay, fine, we'll give the money back. We're going to tell owners in March of every year, we're going to tell them, hey, your property's going to foreclosure in August. So you've got, if you're not going to pay it off, there's a letter in here, in addition to the warning that it's going to tax, this is for tax foreclosures, it's going to tax foreclosure. In addition to telling you that, there's a letter you can fill out, and that's your intent to claim. And you have to send this to us. If you're not gonna pull it out of foreclosure, send this letter so that if you do have surplus funds or overages, turn that in by July 1st, and you'll be on the clock. If you don't do that, you cannot make a claim. So, just nasty, dirty stuff they're doing because they need the money. They can't meet their budget without it. And instead of saying, okay, it's time to pull in our belts and realize we got spanked and go forward, no, we're going to make it we're going to do something else, try to keep the money. It's super dirty, okay? There's a lot of states that are dirty, but this is a particularly dirty move. Now, when we called, we knew about that, but there was also an amendment that was going to push it back to July of the following year. So we figured, we're fine. Turns out the amendment didn't really come through. Well, it did, but the counties aren't recognizing it. The counties aren't going by the updated statute. So we're kind of screwed. However, we put a couple together already where they went under contract and they had already filed an intent to claim. And they still want to work with us because we're giving them some money up front, good faith money up front when they sign our contract. That's going to help them get by because Michigan takes a long time to pay out. They're going to drag their feet and they're kicking and screaming the whole way. So anyway, we had pulled it off because of the problem that we ran into, and then we put it back on because we realized, okay, we might be able to do it. Now we just recently pulled Michigan off again, and that's the reason. Guys, it's just rough right now. I have a feeling there's going to be another lawsuit soon. Because it's just ridiculous what they're doing right now. And again, a lot of states are dirty. It's kind of the norm anymore. Sirius, this is my first live Q&A. How do I submit questions here in the chat or another way? You just did, Sirius. Go ahead and throw a question at us in the chat here. Ann Russell, some areas of Michigan want $1,800 a month to look at their paperwork. Some areas. Holy crap, I didn't know that, Ann. I didn't see a problem. I know I had to jump in and double check on a couple of deals because we're moving so quickly. And I didn't see where it was $1,800 a month. Maybe there's a county or two that charges a ton of money. Kipit. Oh, hey, Kevin. Kipit's a nickname for Kevin. Is there a set number of heirs that you will not work with? It's not so much, is there a maximum number of heirs? It's, are we going to be able to hit the minimum, whatever the minimum is for the particular program you're working, are we going to be able to hit that with just one? Now, I will tell you, that's the rule, and that's the easiest way to go by, but most people don't check for heirs, and we don't ask you to, right? So the way that my crew has told me is we're very comfortable. Let's say there's 5 heirs, but we can only get 2, but that's still going to help us hit the minimum of where we need to go. We're very, very comfortable working that. Now, having said that, I'm very proud of them, the crew. It's an all-woman crew that does this, and they're just amazing. And I have seen them put deals together where they corralled 3, 4, 5 heirs at a shot and got them all on board, which is just amazing. You guys know the family structure works these days. Half the people don't talk to their brothers and sisters. But I hope that answers your question. Is it's going to come down to, honestly, the rule of thumb is if it's let's say the minimum on that program is 35 grand and there's 4 heirs. Normally you'd be looking for 140,000, but I will tell you, and I know Jeff, you're going to kill me for this, but if we can make it work with 2 of the heirs, we're fine. Guys, do me a favor. We see this a lot. People want to check and see if there's other heirs, and then they want to turn the file in with those heirs' names. If you want to make a note that you've got an obit, if you want to include the obit, that's fine. But we have to check this ourselves. We can't go by what you're saying. And the name on there, the file name, should be the last deed holders, guys. That's all we're looking for. Don't try to, oh, well, but they have 2 kids, or oh, they got divorced and this. We don't want to know that. What does the deed say? That's what we want to see there. Cheryl. Let me see here, sorry. Is that even legal in Michigan? I think it's unethical and I think it's immoral, but is it illegal? I think it goes against the takings clause in the Constitution, which is why Michigan lost in the first place trying to keep the money. I think it's going to take a lawsuit to change it. It's that simple, because they're going to get away with it as long as they can get away with it. And the state itself is probably going to be turning a blind eye to it, what the counties are doing, because they understand, oh my God, there is going to be a budget shortfall because they've depended on this. And in that instance, the state's going to have to come out of coffers to prop up the counties. And it's a mess, guys. It's just a nightmare. Sean, I read on the Philadelphia Inquirer that the Philly sheriff has to answer to a judge in regards to folks not receiving their deeds after the tax sale. Philadelphia, the sheriffs have gotten in trouble for, I'm not kidding right now, decades. Philadelphia has the HART program. It used to be the DART program, Defendant Asset Recovery Team, where you'd go to get surplus funds in Philadelphia. The only place like it in Pennsylvania, by the way. Now it's HART, Homeowners Asset Recovery Team. It just sounds so much better, doesn't it? But the reason they did DART is the sheriff got in trouble for moving a lot of money offshore. It's really quick. I'm going to tell you guys how these guys do it, because I've seen it in more than one state. In the majority of states, the clerk of the court or the master in equity or whoever's handling the money, and what I mean by that is whoever's dispersing the money, whoever has the okay to disperse it, there's typically no second check on it, okay? It's the bookkeeper will cut the check usually, but the master in equity or the clerk of the court or whatever is the one that makes this, is the person that's solely responsible for making the decision on who gets surplus funds or if a claim gets granted, okay? So what they would do, and I've seen this in multiple states, and I'm sure sheriffs did the same thing, what they would do is they'd get a buddy to go in and just set up a DBA, a company name, and then make a claim and say, hey, I had a judgment against these guys, make a claim for, let's say it's 60,000 and over. It's, I'm due 25,000 because of this. And their buddy would grant it, okay? Wouldn't even ask for title work, whatever, just go, yep, he's entitled to 25, the rest can go to the owner, that's cool. And then they would split it on the back end. Okay, their buddy would go cash that check, take cash out, give half of it to whoever was there, the sheriff, the clerk, whatever, give half of that back to them, then go open up another company and do it on the next one. And we saw this a lot. So the sheriffs in Philly, there's a long history of Philadelphia sheriffs being dirty. So that does not surprise me at all. And by the way, last time we did a Philadelphia retrieval, and this is why we hate doing Philadelphia, but the last time we did a Philadelphia retrieval, it took, I think it was over 2 years to pull it out of the court. They took forever. We literally had 2 people on the deed, 2 spouses. One of them was on death's bed. We honestly thought the guy was going to die before we got the money out. Just ridiculous. All right, Kevin. Thanks. Great answer. You got it. Christy, some of the info I'm getting already says a state of blah, blah, blah. I'm planning on sending that. You can, when you say info, as long as you understand when you fill out that worksheet, guys, we can't really, if it says a state of such and such, it's probably on a document we're already asking for you, Christy, from you. to go along with the worksheet, so that's fine. Just whatever you do, don't mess with the worksheet. It's got to be filled out like it needs to be filled out. Deed holders, even if they're both dead or whatever, we want to know what was the deed holders, okay? And also, what I'm saying, let me make a point here. And this is as much for Jeff and Jenna's benefits on my career. Jeff's my partner, but Jenna is my office manager. It's as much for them as anything else. Guys, we're seeing occasion where people turn in and they'll do the worksheet, but then they'll also have some summary, okay, and it summarizes key points. It's AI, okay. We don't trust AI. This is why we need to see your work. AI is not ready yet, guys, for prime time in the surplus funds recovery business. Will it be someday? Maybe. Right now, you got to do the work. There's a reason we pay very high percentages. National surplus funds, we give you 27% of net. That's outrageous. Nobody does that. And we're doing all the skip tracing, calling, mailing, hiring the mobile notary and the attorney. I mean, your job is to get a list, research the debt, turn it into us on a worksheet with some supporting documents. But then you got tax surplus strike force at 35% of net. You got panning at 40% of net. It's a great pay for what you're doing, guys. Serious B. I see chat but not video. Has the meeting started yet? It has. It's one way. This is YouTube. This is a YouTube stream. Serious. So just ask your questions in the comment section. I'll read them out. That's what I've been doing. I'll read them out and go over them with you and answer your question. All right. It's not Zoom. Everyday hustle. And guys, I would. There's no way with my ADHD I'd be able to keep up with all that. I just, no. Everyday hustle 3250. How often have you seen legislation changes like Michigan that affect working surplus funds over your years of experience? I'm curious how common it is for things to flip back and forth like that. So we saw a bunch of different states. Michigan, used to they just plain kept the money. Now they've made it difficult. So it's a progression. It'll eventually get to where it needs to go. There are certain states that are great. They want to get rid of the money. There's really not an issue. It's not really a flip back and forth. Most of them, they're on a progression where they're getting better and better at releasing it. There are states that are on the opposite end of that spectrum for sure, but most of them are getting better and better. I'll give you another example. Wisconsin had the same thing as Michigan, where they were keeping the money. They lost the Supreme Court battle. Somebody took them to the state Supreme Court, lost that battle, and they had to start giving the money back. I am convinced we are the first ones into Wisconsin. Absolutely convinced. When we went in it, we used an attorney, and at the time there wasn't even like a set way to do it. So we hired an attorney that had mortgage surplus funds experience, and he literally told the court how things needed to go. And I think it was $47,000 we were going after, and the court said, "Okay, we grant your motion. We don't have the money. We've got like 35,000." And we took it because first one in, we knew this. They were not BSing us. They were broke. Okay, they were used to using this money for their budget, and we knew that it was going to take a while for them to get better. And we really loved the opportunity to be the ones to tell them how to do it through our attorney. That was worth a lot to us. All right, let's keep going here. Good story, and it's a true story. Vincent Andrew. Oops. Sorry, guys. When you sign up, is that forever or a specific time frame? Also, can you choose one plan but change it to another one later? So, Vincent, all of our programs are standalone programs. They're separate, okay? So you can't like pick one and then go, "Oh, I'm going to go with this one, and I bought the $397 one, and this one's $597, so I'll just pay the difference." No, you can get them all three. By the way, all three of the surplus programs, which are $397 for national, $597 for tax surplus strike force, $797 right now for panning. You get all three of them for $997, which is a killer deal. But no, you can't come back later and say, "Hey, I want to pay the difference," or "I want to switch out." No, they're all different. It is a one-time shot, one-time price. That's it. $397, you're done on the lowest end. With the national surplus, I say lowest, that's still banging away. All right, Richard Worley. Let me get to you, Richard. Sorry, buddy, I'm a little bit behind right now. Oh, he told Sirius refresh your screen. Thank you, Richard, for saying that. Philippe, They should be arrested and prosecuted. I agree, Philippe, but there's a lot of states getting away with this crap. I don't know when the reckoning's going to come, but I'm hopeful it's going to come for some of these states. Support says Christy J. Dennis, deeds never read a state of. Yeah, I think Jeff. That's the moderator. He's my business partner also. I think she was saying that she had some other documentation that was talking about that. Just so you guys know, though, like you'll read stuff where it'll be the plaintiff is the county, okay? It'll be the you'll get a report on they're about to foreclose over unpaid taxes. Sorry, had a little bit of a brain fart there. Anyway, you'll see the report and it'll say John and Mary Smith, comma, heirs of John and Mary Smith. That doesn't mean they died, okay? You can't assume that. That's another reason why go by the deed, period. Yes, you will see other paperwork. Sometimes it talks about estates and that type of thing, but that's not what we care about. Guys, we have the best skip tracing people finder systems on the planet, and we're going to trust what we've got over what you guys turn in anyway. I understand that you can look out on obits and that type of thing. That's a great thing to do, but we're going to trust ours over yours. If you want to include something because you saw something, that's great, but just make sure you fill out the worksheet like we told you. What do I do if the overage case number says no situs? Okay. So Rando, there's got to be some kind of a reference there if it says no situs. No situs means no address, meaning typically there's no house. Okay, usually it's land and they haven't put a number on it yet. Okay, you can also see that, guys, believe it or not, they have surplus funds or overages from boat slips. Anything that can be deeded separately. A lot of times they'll deed boat slips separately. If there's a foreclosure on it, they'll mention that too. But a lot of times that just means there's no address associated with the case. In that instance, they should give you a name, and hopefully it's not a common name, so it's something you can look up by name at first to at least figure it out. But they're going to give you something else like a PIN, partial identification number, also called a PID, partial ID, or they will give you a shortened legal description, and that's your hint, breadcrumbs that you can kind of follow. Good question. Hold on. Sirius, would you consider adding an effective as of date to the header or footer of the WIP list, work projects list, so researchers can easily identify the current version? No. So Sirius, whatever's on the resources page is the most current. I see what you're saying. Add it to the top, but we change it every single day, Monday through Friday. So you've got to down. If you're going to turn in some files and you're about to research files, right? You go onto your resources page. Say it's Wednesday and you're about to research debt. Go on the resources page, pull down whatever's up on the resources page, open that. That is the most recent list. It's updated Monday through Friday. So just pull it up right before you do the research, and it is going to change if it's the next day. So it just doesn't make sense to do that. I know I might sound frustrated, but we were just dealing with a lot of people they pulled down the list, downloaded it, and thought that it was going to magically, and I know you're not thinking this, that it was going to magically update on its own while it was sitting on their computer, and it can't do that. Guys, just so you know, man, we really, the reason we put the files in progress, working in progress, whatever, the surplus funds list of stuff that's already been turned into us, is we're trying to save you time and energy where you're not going to research something we already have. My opinion, this is not a saturated business, but we don't want you to waste your time or ours turning something in we already have. So yes, it does involve opening it up, but depending on how much that you're researching, that might be once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. All right. Vincent says, thanks. You're very welcome, Vincent. Oh, am I caught up? Nope, of course not. Christy, surplus funds list has had them. Oh, I see what you're saying. Instead of on the surplus funds list. That's fine. Still go by. I mean, you can certainly bring that up, but honestly, just put the names that are on the deed, please, in the file, and we'll handle it from there. You know what I mean? If you're going to if the list has it on, we're going to see it anyway. You know. By the way, I respect and appreciate what you're trying to do here, and you're trying to do really, really good work, Christy. I get it, and I respect that. Um, I'm certainly not, poo-pooing or disrespecting that. Christy, the list I downloaded on 821 does not. This is for serious. No, serious. What she was saying was she's had a surplus funds list that she's gotten online that has had a state of on it in the actual list, I believe. I believe that's what she's saying. She's not talking, you're talking about two different lists. Everyday Hustle. I see some states with zero or a few files submitted. Is this due to low foreclosures, overage amounts there, or just county court systems are harder to use, so researchers lean toward easier counties? I think it's a mix of all of it. You're going to see those states fill in. It wasn't that long ago that we launched Tax Surplus Strike Force, where instead of using, like nationally, you use lists you get online or you request. With Tax Surplus Strike Force, we teach you how to accurately estimate tax overages in areas where you cannot get a list. Either you can't get a list or they take a couple of months, or a long extended period of time to post them. So we're first ones in the door, and that's been banging recently. Also with mortgage overages in non-judicial states where you can't get a list, because in non-judicial states, the foreclosing attorney also handles the disbursement of the surplus in 99% of the time. So they're not going to give a list out. So we're teaching how to accurately estimate that. So that filled in a lot of states on the mortgage side. On the tax side, you're going to see all those states getting filled in. But yes, there are a few states that, a couple of little thumbnails here, heuristics that'll help you guys. When you get into the Northeast, it's harder to get a loan in the first place. So the people tend to have better credit or better credit history. And they tend to be more fiscally conservative. So they're they're, in my opinion, more careful with their money, and you see less foreclosures. Plus, Northeast, the population density is a lot lower than when you get in the Southeast or even portions of the Southwest. It's just a different population density, and it's also, there are regional differences between how hard or easy it is to get a mortgage, and it's easier to get a mortgage in the Southeast. It just is. So it's easier to get in trouble with a mortgage in the Southeast. Plus, you have a lot of areas that are extremely dense. Yes, there are dense places, for instance, New York City. I get it. But people aren't getting into trouble as much up there. And the New York City is not the entire state, if you follow me. But yeah, you also hit states where there's so low population density, Wyoming, for example, that you hardly ever see foreclosures to begin with. That's a great question, Everyday Hustle. Let's see here. Asaph, curious if you are seeing a good hit rate with the evening calls your team has been doing. You mentioned previously you felt that it would be very impactful. Yes. So for those of you guys that are new to this, and we only got a couple minutes left here, but for those of you guys that don't understand what he's talking about, so we've had full-time crew members. Oh my God, we've got a full-time data entry person, we've got a full-time office manager, we've got a full-time attorney liaison, we've got full-time crew members that were calling during the day. I added an evening caller, and I thought that was going to really help. It did. Not only is he getting in touch with, and he's the only male I've got on my team, but other than Jeff, who's my partner, but not only is it helping with the contact rate, but because of the way we've set it up, it's allowing us to hit faster with multiple calls on the existing crew, because he's handling also the back end. So not only the evening, but he's also handling it after the first couple of weeks. And that makes a huge difference because we're pounding people so fast right now, not just with mailings, but 2 calls a week for the first 2 weeks, just nailing them, because speed counts so much in this business that alone was worth, even if this guy didn't, and he already is contributing some deals, but even if he didn't contribute anything, the fact that he's allowing us to pound them faster and harder is worth it. We're seeing the results in the conversion on that. Fantastic question, Asaph. Jill, since I'm newer, you help process both foreclosure and tax deed overages, or only tax deed overages. So with the National Surplus Funds Program, you're going off a list that you get online. It's easy to find those. We teach you how. That works for both mortgage and tax overages as long as you have a list. Tax Surplus Strike Force, you're creating your own list with that program for tax overages. And then the panning for hidden surplus, that's a different program. With that one, you're estimating the overages for mortgage foreclosures in non-judicial states where you can't get a list. So yes, with national surplus funds, we work tax and mortgage overages. Richard, for stealth surplus funds, I see some opening bids listed at 186,444, 178,555.55. Should I not trust or submit? Right now, Richard, I'm going to cut right to the chase on that. Stealth, I have warned people in videos I've put on YouTube, and I've even told people after they turned them in. Richard, if you've got stealth, you probably have one of our surplus funds programs. If you don't, send me, go to surplusfundsriches.net and shoot me a text, email, tell me where you're at. I would not submit stealth files. We have over a 99% redemption rate right now on tax overages, and it's also very high on the mortgage side. It's the last gasp. Owners are realizing, oh my God, if I lose my home, I'm going to be spending more money in rent than I am on the mortgage, and they're finding a way to make it work. Same thing with if they're losing it over taxes, they're going, oh my God, I've got to come up with this 10 grand to stay here, and they're making it work. So as a result, stealth is not the way to go. It's too high of a redemption rate. It's just been rough go with stealth. Obviously, we didn't anticipate that, and I do anticipate. I think we're in for some tougher economic headwinds coming up, and I do anticipate that beginning to possibly come back into the forefront. But right now, I would not work stealth. Serious, what minimum overhead amount should I use when estimating net proceeds for preliminary lead screening and payout calculations? Serious, if you're doing it on your own. Overhead should I use when estimate? So if you're partnering with us, you don't have to skip trace, call, mail, negotiate, hire the mobile notary, the attorney. So there's really nothing in there except for the cost of the course. If you're doing it on your own, when speed counts, you're going to need to have a notary, mobile notary meet them. That's usually $100 to $200. We just did one in Puerto Rico. It was $875 because we're working with heirs, multiple people. It was the most ridiculous thing. But I'm going to dag on it. I'm going to make it work. But in addition to $100 to $200 on average with that, you're going to have about $30 if you have a business account with FedEx, because you're going to need to send the label, the FedEx label, to the notary so they can send it back to you at FedEx, send the documents back, because speed counts. You want to be the first in the door and get it under contract. If you're looking at skip tracing systems, most of them are charge you monthly. We have a special deal with microbilt.com, MICROBILT. Randy Musteller is the guy's name. Call the Microbilt number. Go to microbilt.com, call their 800 number or 888, whatever it is. Talk to Randy, say Sean Bougie sent you, or Greater Good Company. That's our buyout company, not our education company. But say that Sean Bougie or Greater Good Company is working with or told you about it, and he will give you a special deal where he won't charge you a startup fee or special rates. But it's a couple $100 just for skip tracing. You got to mail, and that's now. I think postage is going up 96 cents per pop. And if you really want to hit it, you're going to have to hit the individual and their possible relatives and associates, and then you're going to have a mailing piece to send. Vistaprint's a great way to go. You're looking at probably 25 cents. Even for all, well, probably 20 for all color, really nice postcard if you want to use a postcard. Anyway, it depends on how many. I'm not trying to ignore your question, Serious B, but it depends on how many files you're going to be working, because some of this stuff is a per deal cost and some of it is not. But if you're going to be doing it on your own without us, most people start with us, partner with us, and start with us, and put a couple of bucks in your pocket before you go out on your own. But hey, we also teach you, get the full version, National Surplus Funds full version for $597. Teaches you how to do it on your own. And yeah, you can certainly do it on your own. Doing it on my own, I would budget $3 to $5 grand a month, depending on how serious you are. Everyday hustle. Last question. I'm interested in why you didn't accept files from Oregon and Washington for a while, and then decided to accept them. What changed? I'm in Oregon, partly why I'm so curious. So Oregon and Washington were kind of California light, and in years past, they were a little more difficult about retrieving the surplus funds. California's gotten actually pretty good about it. There's delays in getting paid out on the tax side. They wait a year before they'll actually look at claims. Washington State was really horrible. There was even a couple of guys they took to court, and I think they've calmed down because the state attorney general at the time, I think, had political aspirations, and that's why he was trying to just tear people up. And Oregon was very similar to Washington. We decided to just go ahead and throw them on there. It's not an issue. So because we feel confident, we have fantastic. That's another part of it. We have better attorneys in there. MTMDJI. I bought some course with a different email. Do I have to make sure that I use the email I purchased a certain course with the partner? You're gonna need to have the same name, obviously, and and you should be fine. That's to keep people from saying, "Oh my goodness, hey, it's a different email now," but in reality, somebody resold our copyrighted material, which we guys we will go after you legally for that. I'm not trying to threaten anybody. I'm just telling you that's something we take very, very seriously. All right, so if I use a different email, yeah, okay. Okay, at least I got you. Apologies, what is your overhead for the partnership program? I have income limits and want to estimate it to avoid issues with the government. What is your overhead for the partnership plan? So, I mean, our cost of them is $397 for National Surplus Funds Partnership, $597 for Tax Surplus Strike Force, or $797 for panning, or you can get all three for $997. You don't have any other costs involved. We give. Are you trying to find out? I give you 27% of the net on national. I give you 35% with Tax Surplus Strike Force and 40% with panning, and I pay a. Now, I can pay you, I can pay a spouse. If you assign it to a spouse, I can do that. I've still got to have you turn it in under your name. But when it comes time to pay, if I need to pay somebody else, I can do that. That's completely legal. As long as it's not, anything shady, we're good. And Cheryl says, thanks and have a good night. Yeah, I know Cheryl will at the end. Guys, we are at the end. In fact, we're 6 minutes early. 6 minutes late. I really appreciate the interaction tonight. I hope to see you at the next one. If you're interested, if you haven't come on board yet, my email address and my direct phone number. Go to surplusfundsriches.net, click on special offers, check out that page. Put your information, check out the page first. There's a download that goes over the program. So don't call me with no information. But then my phone number and email address are both on the website. You can call me direct on my cell phone, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday at 704-791-9398. That'll be on the website too. Trying to find out your costs so I know what to estimate for my 27%. I gotcha. Serious, the 27% works out to anywhere from 8 to 12% of the net because we use a rolling percentage. That's a good place to start. Go ahead and set it's 10% of the gross. Good question, Serious. Now I understand what you're saying. Thank you, sir. Have a good night, guys.